Hello all. In this video, I'm going to talk about SQLite. It is an inbuilt module in the Python, and here we will understand what is the database, what is table, and what are those SQL statements. We will try to understand all these concepts in this particular video. So now let's understand basically the SQLite, right? So how it is going to work, and we'll also understand what is a database, what is table, and SQL statements. And we'll see that how we can connect all of them, and we'll be able to load the data and fetch the data, right? Those who knows SQL, for them it is basically just a cakewalk. Otherwise, who don't know, maybe for them it's very important to understand the database, table, and other concepts, right? Let's start with this. Say that what exactly, let's understand what exactly is a database, right? So say that I can say this is something a database, right? Let's call it as a database. And within the database, I will have a tables. I can have many tables here. So I'm going to call these are all the tables, right? So these are all the tables. And if I pick this table and show you this way, and here I can have a columns, column 1, column 2, column 3, and column 4. As many as columns you can create here, right? So, okay. So in this column, I can have any number of rows for each column, all right? So this is the idea here. The database, inside the database, I will have a table, and within the table, I will have a columns, and each column will have a rows, right? And if I want to take a typical organization level table, let's say that this is a table. So in any organization, they will keep their data, suppose say in the database. So they will store something like this. So employee name, employee number, employee salary, and their phone number, a gender, address, everything they can store in the table, right? Everything they can store in the table. That's how you can interpret this. What is table, what is database, and how we are going to load this data, and how we are going to fetch this data, that we are going to understand very soon. All right, let's begin. So first of all, I have to import a SQLite 3, right? SQLite 3, I'm going to import here, otherwise it is not going to work. SQLite 3, then I have to connect to the database, right? As we have seen, it is the tables will be inside the database. So for that, I need to connect to database, because I can have a multiple databases like this. And each database can have a multiple columns. I need to tell, right, which database I want to access, right? Which database I want to connect. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say that SQLite 3 dot connect, and here I will give a database name dot db. So it means that you connect to my database 1 db, right? So any names, whatever the names, according to the name, you can connect to the database. And I have everything I am going to instantiate, and I will simply call it as a db, right? Database. So my database is created or connected here. And what I can do now, I have connected to database. Now the next job is to create a table, right, inside the database. So here, what I am doing, so for every time, if I want to execute a SQL statements, every time I have to say with respect to SQLite 3 only, db.execute. Why db? Because everything has been instantiated into this name. You can give any name here, no worries. So this name dot execute, So inside this, I have to give a statements. Those are basically SQL statements, structured query language statements. It is same like an English language, but you have to write it systematically. All right. So let's see that. So here I want to create a table. Suppose say grade 1, any name. So before creating a table, I want to make sure that there is no such table exists. A database cannot have a duplicate table names. So for that reason, what I'm doing, I'm saying that in the quotes, drop table if exists, and I have to give the name. This is the table name. If at all this table name exists, I have to drop this. So making sure that this table name doesn't exist, so that I can create with the same name in case you want to create with this same name. All right. Again, there are constraints like so why you have to delete someone else table and things like that. So that is again different part of database related thing, so that we are not getting into. Suppose say this is your own database and you are the owner and want to create a table, you can do anything. All right. So for now, what I'm trying to do, I'm checking whether this database exists. If it exists, you drop it. Right? That is what I'm trying to do. So once it drops means delete it. So after that, now I have to create with the same name, right? Because I am dropping to make sure that it doesn't exist, so that I can create a table with the same name, right? If you are sure that the table which you are going to create is entirely new, you don't need to do this operation, right? You can skip this. So now let's understand how to create a table, right? So again, I'm saying db dot execute. This is common. And here I say everything will be in the quotes only, SQL statements. Create table and your table name. You can give any name. And okay, you want to create a table, fine, with the name grade 1, but what are all the column names? You cannot simply create an empty table, right? You have to have a column names. So I am saying column names ID, and I'm saying it should be always integer because someone will try to enter a name. So I'm making sure that they enter an integer only. Okay, what is next? Next is the name. Okay, name. So how the data should look like? It should be a text. The name should be, the data type of the name should be text. That also I can define. Is there anything else? Yes, score also. Score. And it should be integer. So based on the data, based on the data type, I can mention the column names, right? So if it is a required integer, then you have to mention column name and integer. So everything should be in this bracket. Okay, let me remove this a minute. Otherwise, you don't see this exactly. Oh, perfect. Right? So grades 1, and within the bracket, I'm saying column names, column this one, and this one, right? Everything is ready. Table is ready. Now, where is the data? So for that, we have a separate SQL statements. db dot execute. Now I'm saying that insert into grades 1. So grades 1 is chosen. I have already connected to database here. I don't need to worry. Insert into grades 1. Okay, where I should insert, what I should insert. Okay, I'm going to tell that, okay, in the ID column, name column, and score column. ID, names, and score column. Fine, I have selected all this column. Where are the data? Now I'm going to say that values 101 here, John will be here, 99 will be here. All right. So that is how I am going to insert the data here. And I can do any number of inserts. All right. So first row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth. So all this data I'm going to insert in the respective column. So this guy will go into the ID, this guys will go into the name, and this guys will go into the scope. And my table will get populated with all this data. All right, let's see how it looks like. I'm going to execute. Yes, it's executed. Now there is something called a commit, db.commit. So dot commit makes sure that your data are stored in the table permanently, right? So that is why we use this dot commit. Fine, data is loaded. Now let's see whether data is available or not. And how do I make sure? How do I access the data? All right. So there comes the typical SQL statements. What I'm saying, db.execute again, and here I'm giving my SQL statements. What I'm saying, select star means everything, right? Select everything from grades 1. This is a table. And I say that, okay, whenever I select the data from the table, right, all this data, how do you want to view it, right? I say that order by ID. So we have ID column there. So it should be ordered by ID. So all this data will be fetched and stored in this result. So that result I'm going to use, and I apply a for loop, right? For every row in a result, print row. So one by one, all the rows will be printed. So this is basically to showcase. So it's like a dash and you print 60 times just to draw some line here, right? Don't worry about this. Let's execute, right? So the data is basically ordered by ID here. And this dash, this is a dash and printed 60 times here, okay? Fine. So I have selected everything. Now what I'm saying, you select everything from grade 1 table, but I have a condition. So I can write a condition here where name equal to Gary. So this is should be your column name. And after that, inside the column, you have to have a one of the data. If you don't have, it is not going to get any data back. All right. So that's how it is going to understand. Select star from a table where I'm checking this condition. Wherever this condition is going to meet, if this condition is satisfied, and in that case, the respective records, all the records should be retrieved. So I am going to store that, and I am using a for loop and printing a row. To execute, only Gary records will be retrieved. Right? I can apply any kind of a condition. So same thing I'm doing here. Select star from grades 1, where this time I'm using a score. I want to see who and all scored more than or equal to 90 marks. So this is the condition I am giving here. Right? Now same thing, results, and I'm checking data and printing one by one wherever this condition is going to meet. Right? As you can see, these three guys scored greater than or equal to 90 marks. All right? Now, is this that we have to select all the columns? No, you can select any particular column as well. So for that, I'm saying select column name, name and score only. Only two columns I'm selecting. Why you want to see the entire database? Why you want to see entire table actually? So maybe table can have thousands of columns, right? You just want to see a score and a name. You don't care about his ID and things like that. You just want to know who got the how much score, right? So in that case, I can say select only the two columns. From, I have to give the table name, and I will say that order by score. So I have to order it in by the score. Here I am saying DESC. DESC is nothing but a descending. If you don't give descending, it is going to print in ascending order by default. Suppose say that you want to see who scored highest, so then you can use a descending order. So descending means high to low. So in the top first row itself, you will get the person name who got a highest marks, right? Let's execute. You can see that John has got a highest marks, 99. If you don't use the descending, everything is same here. It's just that I'm not having this descending, and if you print that, it will print in ascending order, right? So depending upon the requirement, depending upon the need, you can change your SQL statement, all right? So that is the basic about a database, a table, and a simple SQL statements, all right? So maybe you can, if you are interested, you can look into this and try to create a table and do all these things. Right? That's volunteer. So if you want to do it, yeah, do it. Go ahead and do this. Yes, that's all in this video. Thank you for watching this video and keep learning. I will see you all in the next video. Thank you.